It's been nearly 3 years since you came down to southernmost state of Kerala from Delhi. So, what's your impression of Kerala and its people?
Kerala, I have given this story earlier also, that Kerala has always fascinated me since my student days. I owe gratitude to students from Kerala who, as a body, there were only two states, Kashmir and Kerala, whose students in Aligarh, they had their own association. And both these associations had supported me when I was contesting for the post of secretary and president of the students' union. They as a group supported me. But that is only matter of gratitude. I am grateful to them. But what really created fascination in my mind about Kerala was the statement which was made by principal of a college in Almora, which was venue of the intervarsity meet, all universities of India, in 1969 on the occasion of Gandhiji's birth centenary. And this principal, who was chairman of the reception committee, first meeting, when he welcomed all the delegates, he made the statement that Almora, then Almora was part of UP, and he said, Almora is the only district of UP which compares favorably with Kerala state. Almora was also, since beginning, it has been, the literacy percentage has been very high. So, having a district which has high literacy percentage and having a state which has high literacy percentage, so I was very fascinated. And I tried to know from the Kerala students, this is not the time when I was secretary and president. This was, I think I was in my BA first year when this thing happened. 69. I came to university in 67 after high school. Central universities, they had this, they did not have the 10 plus 2. They had 10 after high school, you can come to the university, 1 year as pre-university, 1 year as pre-medical, then further study. No, I was, and when I came to Parliament in 1980, even before coming to Parliament in 1980, I had visited Kerala. But in 1980, when I came to Parliament, I was possibly first time that a first timer was appointed. There is a top high-powered committee on Hindi, Kendriya Hindi Samiti. 3 members of Parliament, Lok Sabha, are also nominated by the Speaker on the recommendation, naturally, of the government. Then Pandit Kamalapati Tripathi, the senior most member possibly of the House, Pandit Chiranjit Lal Sharma from Haryana, and me. I was the youngest. We were appointed to Kendriya Hindi Samiti, and I remember barely 3 months after I came to Parliament in 1980, the Hindi Samiti in Kerala, it was Nagari Pircharni or whatever it was, they invited me. And I came here and I spent 3 days possibly. 1 day in Kovalam. Yes, because the hotel there was with Ashoka then. And it was, interior was done by Mr. Pilu Modi, who was member of Parliament, who was I was very young, he was very senior leader. But when I was in Aligarh, we had invited all the senior leaders on various occasions. Murarji Bhai Desai, Pilu Modi Sahab, Chaudhary Charan Singh, DMK leader in the house. So many leaders we had invited. So I had developed a kind of relationship with him from those days. And I knew that he had told me, in fact, that you should go and visit, if you are going to Kerala, then you should visit this hotel also. So one night I stayed there, 2 nights I stayed in Kerala. So in Kerala I find very special place, not to make you happy or even, in fact in North when I speak, I have not spoken here. In North when I speak, I say that if you want to see unadulterated Sanatan mindset, come to Kerala. Nobody suspects anybody of anything. People are so friendly with each other because of one's religion or one's factors associated with the birth. Nobody distrusts anybody. Anybody sees, this is a rare sight when I hear that a young nurse who had a 3-month-old baby at home, she forgot about the baby and she took care of the man who had collapsed there. And the paper later said that the doctor said that if she had not taken charge of him, he would not have survived. I invited that lady to the Raj Bhavan to honor her. So here I see that element of compassion which is absolutely necessary to live a civilized existence. Although Dr. Radhakrishnan says that to women this sense comes naturally, but men, they must make special efforts to cultivate the sense of compassion. And I see this sense of compassion generally in Kerala. So I have not even once I have made this statement in Kerala, but you can check on YouTube. In UP, in Delhi, I have made this statement several times, that if you want to see pure Sanatan, unadulterated Sanatan mindset, come to Kerala.
What's your opinion about its politics? Because Kerala is...
Politics, I think I have given my opinion yesterday. That like bright students, very bright students are produced by Kerala school system. No one wants to stay in Kerala to pursue higher studies. Likewise, Kerala is full of talent and competent people are there. They don't want to join the politics. They don't want to be part of the public affairs.
That's a problem.
So, Kerala, I said, this is the only complaint which negative thing which I have noticed in Kerala. That here, they just don't want to participate in public affairs. And I said, I do not exactly remember, but one of them has said it, either Socrates or Plato or Aristotle, that if you refuse to take part in public affairs, then the thing is that you will be ruled by people who are not really, don't deserve to be there.
So that is what is happening.
That is what I said yesterday in Aurobindo meeting.
So ever since you took over...
So you behave like the students of Kerala who migrate to other states.
So ever since you took over, Kerala Raj Bhavan has become a political power center, which is not the case during the time of your predecessor. So what is your...
I do not know, and I won't like to compare myself with anybody. Every individual is born with a different temperament and different attitude. Pirkirti yanti bhutani. Everyone acts according to his own her own disposition, his own disposition. My disposition may be different, but I think I can explain it through the words of Professor C.N.R. Rao. Here in Raj Bhavan, in presence of so many people, he made this point. He said the problem with the universities in India is that the responsibility to provide money is with the government. But upholding the principle of non-interference by the executive, they have not been given the power to discipline the university. That power is with the chancellor, and chancellor is governor. Governor has normally non-interfering attitude, and he does not realize that here it is his responsibility. Legally, government can illegally pressurize the university. Legally, they don't have the power. Legal power is with the chancellor, and chancellor is shy of exercising that power. Therefore, universities generally no sense of discipline. These are not my words, these are the words of Professor C.N.R. Rao, the topmost scientist of the country, who is Bharat Ratna. And this he said in the first year when I came here, on the occasion of few months later he was awarded D.Lit by Kerala University. I invited him for dinner. And there were many people, including Education Minister, Vice Chancellor, and other top academic dignitaries. And he made this statement in front of everybody. And he is alive, you can check with him.
Yet the state government is now planning to take away your powers as the Vice Chancellor, as the Chancellor, the Vice Chancellor.
You know, state government has no status to take away powers of the governor come from Constitution. State has no power to change the Constitution. If you are talking about my being Chancellor, yes, but those powers are not merely because the Act of University says so. There is universally accepted convention that universities must be autonomous and they must be free from any interference by the executive. Conventions also have the force of law. The governor was made chancellor in the India decided for upholding this principle of the autonomy of the university and keep universities free from interference by the executive. The instrumentality which we adopted, the Office of Chancellor is not creation of the bill which has been passed by the Kerala legislature or UP legislature. It is also a result of the centuries old convention which has been accepted in every country. The kind of importance which is given to the universities, to the teachers, as a result of that concept of autonomy. In America, anybody who goes, appears as a witness in the court, has to stand up. It is only a teacher when he comes to give evidence, whether he is a university, she is a university teacher, or she is a primary school teacher, she is offered a seat. You don't see academicians in England. When the government seeks some opinion of an academic who is an expert of a subject, the convention is that minister goes to his house. He is not called to the office. This pathetic sight where the Vice Chancellor kowtows not to the Chief Minister, to the lowly staff in his office. You can see here only, nowhere else. He carries out the orders of the, only 10 days back, about 5 months back, I made it clear to Chief Secretary. I said this government does not follow its constitutional obligation to brief the governor, which Constitution requires. That regular briefing should be there. They do not do it despite my repeated reminders. So now I am making it clear to you that I will not sign any paper, ordinance or any important paper where I have some query to make. I won't accept you sending files here. Minister will bring the file here. And if he feels he is not in a position to answer the questions which I am going to raise, then he can come with his secretary. 5-6 months back, and if I remember correctly, I told the secretary, orally I have told the chief secretary, but you send a written communication also. Now ministers, sometime, even then they did not follow it. But sometime they will come. Accompanied by whom? Personal staff. So last week I had to send a communication that no personal staff will be allowed beyond this room. I have sent it in writing. The department secretary is less important. Minister looks towards the personal staff. What to say? They've made a mockery of the whole thing. It is the personal staff who calls the shots. This morning, Chief Minister office call came that somebody, some of his senior staff member, they want him to meet me. I said, no personal staff will be allowed here. If they want to meet me, for their own thing, they want to meet me, they are most welcome. I will offer them tea, but not on behalf of Chief Minister or Minister. They will have to come here, or if you feel that you are incapable of explaining things to me, send the Chief Secretary. I will not accept personal staff. I will not allow, I have given instructions to my staff that no personal staff of the ministers will be allowed beyond this room. Now that site is under renovation and this interview was there, that's why we are meeting here. But this is the waiting room, that is the room where I meet. They have been given yesterday. I made not only the secretary to write to the day before yesterday. He wrote to the chief secretary that tell the minister, circulate a letter that no minister will bring his personal staff here. If they want to bring somebody, they should bring the secretary of the department.
Sir, you have been constantly pointing out the issues in the higher education sector of Kerala. So if we look at individual universities, say for the example, the Kerala University Vice Chancellor, Dr. Mahadevan Pilla, he's an eminent scientist in optoelectronics. If you look at MG University, Sabu Thomas is a
wonderful man. Wonderful man.
And even in Kannur, this Gopinath Ravindran is a man of national repute in history.
Where? Are you not hearing the complaints which have been made about his PhD? No, about his PhD.
No, sir.
Eminent, what eminence?
No, academically, he was the ICHS secretary.
Oh, okay, does not make somebody academically. These are all ideologically inclined bodies. They are to achieve some position.
No, but
Mr. Irfan Habib had written a book about 50 years back. Can you tell me even a pamphlet written by him after that book? Just point out one pamphlet. He became prominent because he was president of the 4th grade Employees Association in Aligarh. And every year he used to have physical scuffle. In 1972, when I was Secretary of the Union, that year he had a big physical thing outside the proctor office. And when I asked these people, I asked, this was not fair. Why you had to use physical force? Then this proctor told me, proctor told me that they were threatening to set the proctor office on fire. Try to know how men about whose PhD complaints are being made. If those complaints are proved true, even his professorship will go away. Because the level of plagiarism is much higher. I'm not giving any verdict. I have only known that this complaint has been made and it has been run on a national channel. So I'm only drawing your attention to that. I'm not giving you my opinion. I'm not aware.
No, but I think he had taught you in AM.
Never. Fortunately, never. Fortunately, never. History, people say to me that how come, in fact, Aligarh people used to say that history has not been your subject. How come you are so? I said, I am fond of reading history. History has never been my subject. My subject was sociology. My subject was political science, additional credits. Main subject was sociology, and I was a topper in sociology. I was Secretary of the Union and I was topper. I'm boasting. No, I'm saying with great humility.
So my question, the other question was, I'm eliminating Govindan Ravindran. So such eminent scientists are leading our universities. Still, why they are not capable?
But these I'm telling you, we have wonderful why. In fact, because they had flouted the procedure, and they recommended only one name for the Shankaracharya University. I stayed that appointment for some time. But I came to know that man is outstanding. I have no problem in changing my opinion. The moment I came to know that this man is no ordinary academic,
Correct.
I immediately called the file, appointed him, and I'm proud of that. Here the problem is that I don't want to say anything. Some of the vice chancellors are simply brilliant, great academics, but in every university, an illiterate syndicate member has been named as the point man. And I will name the man in Kerala University, Babu Jan. He calls the shots. The vice chancellor takes instruction from him. He's a lawyer. He can file a defamation case against me. I'm saying because of that. I want him to. Because these leaders are saying, they are asking vice chancellor, poor thing, everything will be open out in the, how he can file any defamation suit. Babu Jan calls the shots in Kerala, and so is the case with other universities. One syndicate member has been, to me they assure there will be no interference. But indirectly instruction goes to the vice chancellor, take instruction from Babu Jan. I totally agree with your assessment. That is the reason why, despite, I know he is not articulate, this vice chancellor, Kerala University. He cannot write properly, but nobody can doubt his professional competence. And that is the reason why I have not taken any action against him.
Sir, you knew so much about Gopinath Ravindran, that you reappointed him as...
I think I have not explained that to you. After the appointment of Kerala University of Health Sciences and the Calicut University for months, there were stories that one lobby is bringing pressure to appoint this particular candidate, another lobby is trying to bring pressure to appoint this candidate. Was any one of them appointed vice chancellor of the Kerala University? Every paper has written, I don't want to name. One was being projected as RSS nominee. The other was being projected as government nominee. Did I appoint any of the two? I did not. How can you say that how can anybody say that my decision is influenced by outside pressure? I did not appoint. Now when they realized after these two appointments that you can't pressurize. Chief Minister came to the Raj Bhavan personally. Rarely he has come here. I do not know why he avoids discussion. It is for you to make out. He is a democratically elected leader. Kannur is his own district. I have already constituted the selection committee. UGC nominee, university nominee, and my nominee. The committee has already started working. They have already invited applications. But 2 days were left. More applications could have come. When I checked, I came to know. Then he comes to me and he says to me that in Kannur is my home district, so you will have to give some weightage to my opinion. I said, I think this is reasonable. But let the names come. They will propose 3 names, and I had in my mind that when the finally selection committee makes this short list, the candidates, 3 candidates, then I will have consultation with the Chief Minister and will try to accommodate whatever his recommendation. That I had decided. I have no compunction. But possibly they told him that the selection committee may not include the name of this man. So CM called me and he said he had named 2 officers from his office. That I will send, if I have to send you some special message, one of them will convey the message. And your staff can, if you want to convey something, you can convey through them to me. So the phone came that the legal advisor, personal legal advisor of the Chief Minister, he wants to see me. And Chief Minister has directed him to see me. And these officers, I don't want to name anybody, these officers will accompany him. They came here. Now he said, this legal advisor said to me, he said that you have already, Chief Minister is very happy, you have assured him that his views will be accommodated in the matter of the appointment of the Kannur University Vice Chancellor. But then if you have already agreed, there is no need to go through this process. I said, what are you suggesting? It can be scuttled. I said, how can you say that? We will go through the process. When 3 names are finalized, they come to me, I will consult the Chief Minister. Sir, why to go through it? Even the Advocate General is of the view that there is no need to go through the process. I said, where is the, that was the mistake which I committed. That I asked him, where is the opinion of the Advocate General? He presented a paper. I said, there is no, this is printed on a plain paper, no signature, no emblem, nothing. Why do I accept that this is from Advocate General? Sir, we will bring the signed letter. I was not really, because unless I ask for the opinion of the Advocate General, he is not supposed to write to me. So I was sure they won't be able to produce. 2 hours later, phone came. We want to come again, and they came with the signed letter and the Education Minister's letter accompanying it. Now you tell me, the position, my position, if I have any legal dilemma before me, whom I should consult for? Informally, I can consult anybody. But formally, whom I will consult? AG? AG opinion without my asking is there. So now if I reject what they are saying, I will have to open a new legal battle with the AG. Please try to understand. And then Chief Minister, when this thing erupted, and Chief Minister said that Governor had accepted the opinion given by the AG. AG contradicted him the same day, because AG is legally more aware. He knew that he cannot give his opinion without my asking him to give the opinion. Therefore, he made it clear, no, this is not correct. I have not given any opinion to Raj Bhavan. My opinion was sought by Education Minister. They are being contradicted by their own officers. So, at that point, the option left for me was to indulge in a full-fledged war with the government, including the AG. I did not wish to start that. If I am facing a legal dilemma, formally Chief Minister or me, we will go to AG. AG is already Education Minister, has attached the letter of the AG with it. What to do? And I had given my word, I wanted to honor that. That was also the thing. But this proposal to scuttle the process, I would have rejected if AG's opinion was not there. Then I agreed. But I agreed, I made it clear, I argued with them for 3 days not to force this on me. This is improper, this is not right. I won't say it is illegal, because AG is saying it is legal, but it is improper. For 3 days I tried to make them see reason. They refused. They insisted, no, they want this. I finally did it, and next day I wrote that I don't want to continue as Chancellor. Somewhere I realized that what I have done was not right. I tried my best to resist it, but I did not want, at that stage, I was very keen to continue the cordial relationship. It is only when things have come to a boiling point, You are appointing somebody as associate professor. That candidate does not have even required teaching experience. This candidate was on leave for 3 years. UGC clearly says that the period this period will be considered as leave, the time where you are being paid full salary and you are using the time to complete your research. This will not be treated as teaching experience. They have thrown all the rules to the wind. Why? Because the candidate happens to be related to the political secretary of the chief minister. So things came to a boiling point.
So just one thing, so you mean to say in Kannur VC's case, you were kind of arm twisted to appoint him. You were left with no other option. You tell me. If I wanted to reject the opinion of the AG, then what the course I had with me? Go to Delhi, seek more opinion, indulge in a legal fight. At that point, I wanted the relationship to be smooth. Now, though, they have forced this on me. I won't say more than that in every possible manner, I try to maintain very good relationship. Even after I had this complaint that they went to Supreme Court without informing. When it came to COVID, I praised them everywhere, whereas in Kerala people were criticizing them. If I had any bias or prejudice, or I was being instigated by someone from outside, why I would heap such lavish praises on them for the work which they had done during COVID? I have done my best.
Sir, at that time, you wrote multiple letters saying that chancellorship can be taken by the chief.
Yes.
Now, when the assembly is passing a bill,
no, I did not write multiple. I did not write multiple letters. I wrote just one letter.
Sorry.
Chief Minister wrote 4 letters to me. 3 letters in which he said that he wants me to continue as chancellor. But you must also appreciate that the government has also. I said, why I appreciate that you have some role? I'm ready to hand over everything to you. Take the charge. That they were not ready. Why they were not ready? Because somebody might have told them that UGC will take an adverse view, academic world will take an adverse view, and you do not have enough money to run the institutions. And if they take adverse view, then it will become even more difficult for you. So they insisted. 4th letter, a senior officer of the government came to the Raj Bhavan and says, if this kind of they showed me a text, if you want to make any changes, this letter will come to you. When will you accept? I said, okay, fine. I made some changes. The letter came in that form. No condition, totally. Government will make it certain, ensure that there is no interference in the university, and we request you to continue as chancellor.
So now when the assembly is making minor changes in your powers, you are objecting that.
Have I objected? Have I objected? I have not objected. I have said I respect the right, and they have every right to adopt any measure. I have not objected. Why I should object?
So you will be signing?
Exactly, that is the point. I am not bound to sign anything and everything. I have my own obligations to scrutinize anything or everything which is adopted by the legislature on the yardstick of the Constitution and the law. I have a duty to preserve the autonomy of the university. I have a duty, also remember, any judgment given by the High Court, which is not challenged, becomes law of the land. Any judgment given by Honorable Supreme Court becomes law of the land. And Supreme Court has in its ruling said that universities are bound by UGC regulations. And UGC regulation says that no person who has anything to do with the university or college can become member of a selection committee. What measure they are going to adopt has not reached me. But what I have read is that the bill proposes to make the chairman of the Higher Education Council as permanent member of the selection committee and convener. So far, the existing position is Chancellor's nominee is convener. Now Higher Education Council chairman will be convener. And Higher Education Council has been created. The job of the chairman is to interact regularly on a regular basis with the universities and colleges and UGC bars. So it is not only that I will uphold the constitution, I will uphold the law of the land also, which includes rulings of the Supreme Court.
So you mean to say this particular piece of legislation is anti-constitutional?
I am not saying it has not come to me. We are only discussing.
So what is going to happen regarding the Kerala University VC selection? You have already constituted the committee, but the
in June, we had written to the Kerala University. In June, send your nominee. In end of September, I was going to Delhi and I asked the secretary whether they have proposed any name. No, we have not. Send them a reminder. If the name does not come by 5th of August, I will constitute the committee. Because of one member not being there, because my constitutional obligation is to constitute the committee 3 months before the incumbent demits the office. If on 5th, this is again very interesting. On 5th, when the secretary informed me that they have written that they decided on the vice chairman of the planning board, but he has declined. Why they did not? Why they informed me after reminder? They could have chosen another man when he declined. This can be no reason that because the man we had chosen has declined. And the interesting feature is that the finance minister, who is a gentleman, he comes to see me. Before this reminder was, before I was informed that they had nominated the vice chairman and he has declined to be nominee. And finance minister came with the specific request and he made it very humbly. He is a very nice person. He did not try to bring any pressure on me. So don't think I'm making a case against him. No, he's a very fine person. He comes and proposes in a very humble manner that you have the right to nominate anybody, but our recommendation is that you nominate the vice chairman of the planning commission.
As Chancellor's nominee.
As Chancellor's nominee. This is interesting. That finance minister comes with the proposal that I appoint vice chairman of the planning commission as my nominee. And Kerala University vice chancellor is writing that we had nominated him, but he has declined. Then why finance minister is come? So I said to finance minister, can you give it in writing? He was reluctant. I said to the secretary, please record the conversation that finance minister has requested me, and this request should be placed before me when I am constituting the committee. That is on file. And before the finance minister, I told my principal secretary, I said record the conversation. Make minutes, because now I have started this even earlier, that any minister when he comes, I make a mention there. Whatever conversation is there, the minutes are recorded. So that is on file. So finance minister is requesting me to nominate him as my nominee, and the Kerala University is saying that he does not want to be nominee. They are not. Somebody should be there to explain this paradox.
Regarding this Kerala University selection, BC selection, your committee was constituted on August 5.
Yes.
Right? And this particular piece of legislation, it's going to have retrospective effect. So naturally, the government aims to ensure that
Only if when it becomes a law. Nothing which goes against the constitution of the law and its spirit and the Supreme Court judgment can become law.
So without the nominee of Kerala University, can this committee?
No. There is no problem. If 3 members are there and one refuses to attend, then will you stop the work of the committee? No. Committee is legally. Why don't they challenge the constitution of the committee? They will be exposed because all these things, even this matter that finance minister came proposing this is on minutes, recorded. Everything will come to light.
If the governor doesn't sign the bill passed by the state assembly, it's going to be a constitutional launch. So what is the way out?
I do not know. I am not here to explain what is the way lockout. I am here to perform my duty.
There is another story doing rounds in AMU. So I don't know.
Tell me.
So when you were the union secretary,
President.
Professor Nurul Hassan was the education minister. At that time, the minority status of AMU was lifted, and there was a strong student protest. And actually, you were leading the protest, and you also tried to manhandle the education minister.
Okay. So first we should assume it is true.
So then
No. First, please. I am. First, we should assume that it is true. Then I was the first ever undergraduate secretary. What does that mean? I was only 20 years old. I was not a professor. Suppose this is true. Then because at the age of 20 years, I was leading a procession which had become violent. Therefore, Irfan Habib at the age of 80 can attack me. What a logic. Brilliant story is doing rounds. But if Nurul Hassan Saab was an education minister, government of India, if there was any violence, then that should have been reported to the police. Is it possible that it won't be reported to the police? Produce the report. I had also led the protest. Then this is right, I was secretary. And I reached there when the students had already gathered there in the art faculty, asking Nurul Hassan Saab to go back. Because union has already taken a decision that as long as the democratic character of our union, we were under the Emergency Act at that time. No body of the university was working in a democratic manner except the students' union. He had come to his former department. The arts faculty always has many people, students who are activists. They had already gathered there. I was informed. I came there. Nurul Hassan Saab was escorted very peacefully and he went away from there. If there was any incident of violence, it would have been reported. But yes, one delegation, one protest which I was leading, there some violence happened. I will tell you that. Jagjivan Ramji came to university. He was invited. Vice Chancellor was informed that we have taken a decision that we will not welcome any government minister until our act and the democratic bodies are restored. The court of the university was suspended, academic, nobody was working. But Vice Chancellor, he was such a gentleman, Vice Chancellor. He tried to persuade us. I said, even if I agree, the resolution is there, the students, they will turn against me. But try to manage it. And he was such a fine person. We used to fight with him, but he was always very kind, affectionate, like father should be. He was like that. And we had that kind of relationship. You will be surprised to know that when I was released from jail, I was arrested. I was released from jail. The first man I visited was who? The Vice Chancellor. And he hugged me. And he expelled me. And I went to him. I was not even some walkout from the examination. The student said that this was not part of the course. Some ground they walked out. I was informed when they had already walked out. I reached the place. And on that basis, I was expelled from the university. Next year I became president. He took me back. I did not ask him to take back the expulsion. I said, "Aap chahte hain, do you want me to complete my education or not?" And of course. I said, Lucknow University ke Vice Chancellor ko khat likhiye. Write a letter to the Vice Chancellor. Because date of application has already expired. Agar aap mujhe, if you are expelling me, I have to complete my education. I have done BA only. I became secretary in the final year. So I have done BA only. I have to do law. So write a letter to the Lucknow University Vice Chancellor. Immediately he called the... First he told me, you just have to write 2 lines that you reached there after walkout had already been staged. I said, I will not write. Why I should write when I was not there? If you are expelling me for something which I have never done, I reached there after the walkout had already happened. And he was convinced. But you write 2 lines for the discipline. I said, why should I respond to some baseless allegation? Then I told him, I said, you want me to complete my education or not? Yes. I said, then I don't want to study here. You write a letter to the Lucknow University. Now, the letter which he is writing, and that letter is still preserved with me, about a student who he has expelled from the university. He is a brilliant student, he is a brilliant orator, he is brilliant this, he is brilliant this. और मैंने जाके लेटर दिया VC को लखनऊ यूनिवर्सिटी के ऑफिस में, एंड इमीडिएटली वहीं मेरा फॉर्म आया, वहीं मैंने भरा, वहीं उसी वक्त एडमिशन मेरा, I got admission. After expelling me, 10 lines as if some citation is being read. I had that kind of relationship with my teachers. So ये अगर कुछ भी होता तो he was a, I was telling you about Jagjivan Ram. So finally what happened? Vice Chancellor, one thing he was sure, that I will not do anything unbecoming. But I tried to pressurize him as much as I could do, and we won't attend this. Then I took they had placed only 3 seats on the dais. Vice Chancellor, Chief Guest, and one more. And the other seats they had placed behind the curtain. Because Kennedy Hall, it's a big hall. So I pulled up one chair, not there, just behind them, and just waited for them to arrive. As soon as they arrived, I went to the mic and I said, these were the exact words, and papers had praised it so much. I said, Jagjivan Ram Sahab, Maniye, he was Defense Minister, Priti Raksha Mantri, we welcome you in your capacity as one under whose leadership we had a great military victory. And we got the credit for the creation of a new nation, Bangladesh. We welcome you in, these were exactly my words. We welcome you, I was speaking in Urdu. We welcome you in your capacity as one who belongs to a section of the population who for centuries were discriminated against. But after saying this, but sir, we are so sorry that we have since last many years, every year we reiterate this resolution that as long as the Emergency Act is in operation and it is not replaced by a normal act of the university, we shall not welcome any other. In your capacity as minister, we have to, in the light of that resolution, we should not be here. But you have something very extraordinary. You had led the forces of this country, the defense of this country, when we recorded this victory. In that capacity, we welcome you. We welcome you as belonging to downtrodden sections. But because of that resolution, we will not hear you. And sir, we very respectfully are walking out. When we went outside, these were the words, and local people went gaga over it.
So it was very peaceful also.
In the end, something happened. I was standing on a pillar and asking students, and I was just in 73. How old I would be? 22-year-old. I am born in 51, November. So I was standing on the pillar, and from there I saw a well-built boy hitting with his elbow a constable. To me, that is the most dangerous thing, because he immediately picked up his gun. And if he had shot him, if he had fired any shot, there would have been violence. I jumped from there. And this boy was at least double in size than me. मैंने उसके एक जोर से I slapped him, big slap. But Aligarh में union leaders are so respected. Chaudhary Charan Singh particularly made this point. I have nowhere seen this kind of respect for the union leaders. इसीलिए convention developed that after you have been president, you don't stay in university. Then again I went to Lucknow University to do my law. First I went when I was expelled, but I was called back by the vice chancellor. नहीं वो without my writing anything, they withdrew the expulsion thing. I came and fought the election and became president. So now I jumped from there, I slapped him, and I went to this constable and I said, आपके बच्चे की तरह, he's like your child. We have no fight against you. वो बेचारा इतना he became, I can't tell you how happy he became, and he मुझसे नहीं साहब कोई बात नहीं है, साहब कोई बात नहीं, बच्चे हैं बच्चे. That was the only. Never in my life, in my student politics, other than that, I never faced any kind, I never witnessed any kind of violent act.
So, good that you clarified. Now, can we just move away from university, because there are a lot of other things.
Please.
There is one more legislation coming up, this Lokayukta bill. Obviously, even there, the government is planning to take away your powers, because till now, the government was the competent authority to take a call on whichever verdict against the CM. Now it will be the legislative assembly. So naturally, this particular legislation...
I have already said when I returned the 11 ordinances, the reason was not that I thought that every ordinance is against the constitution or against the... Although, in principle, no government should try to rule through ordinances. But that was not the reason. Was that I had told the Chief Secretary that minister will have, since you are not performing your constitutional duty, to brief me regularly. Therefore, with every paper, whether it is ordinance or some other document which requires my signature, minister will have to come here, accompanied by his secretary. So they will have to come here to explain to me why Lokayukta is this, why curtailment of the powers of the Lokayukta is necessary. And I will judge purely from the viewpoint, as I earlier said, I am bound by no personal bias, no prejudice.
So two questions. One, like you said, in that case you will summon the CM, right? Because this particular ordinance that
I've said minister concerned,
so,
whosoever he is.
and the second thing,
And if he cannot explain, the minister concerned, he can come with the secretary, not personal staff.
and second thing, you have already signed that ordinance. So why?
Yes, I had signed the ordinance first time. Then you should ratify it. And after that, so many things have come to my notice, which possibly if I had known about them earlier, then that ordinance I would not have signed. We do not live in a static position. Lives are dynamic. You learn so many things every day. And then whatever decision you take is always dictated by your own experience and the knowledge which you acquire. So I am not the same. Somebody abused Buddha and next day came to apologize. He said, you are not the same person, I am not the same person, now it's over. Last 24 hours, so many things have changed. So in the case of Lokayukt or any matter, things change. Whatever additional information we receive, then if I viewed it 6 months back or a year back, I viewed it with the knowledge I had at that time and whatever experience I had. Today, if the same thing comes to me, it is not necessary that I will take the same view. Much more additional information has come.
So just for clarification, you said you may not sign this particular ordinance, this particular legislation. But other than that, what are the other options? You can send it to the president, right?
Yeah, constitution is clear.
So would you be considering such an option?
No, that I will consider when I am not able to take a decision.
You are kind of ruling out that.
No. I am not ruling out anything because question is if speculative questions it is not possible for me to reply to a speculative question.
So you also spoke about appointing a committee to check all appointment based on nepotism.
Honestly, I have never spoken it. Papers have written it.
No, but in Delhi,
what I am telling people, so many people came to meet me in Delhi with their complaints that now it is out in public. We are also victim. We are also victim. We are also victim. So many people came. I said, I asked everyone to give in writing. Yesterday I told the media also, they were saying that these things. I said, why don't you send it to me in writing and I assure you I will order inquiry. So I'm not immediately. Let me have any complaint will not go. I assured no complaint will go unaddressed.
So recently in last February, the state government, while responding to the Kochi Commission, they gave a recommendation that the state governments should have more role in appointing and recalling governors. In fact, they were also suggesting that there should be a constitutional provision where they can impeach the governor. What is your take on that? The state government has...
Everybody is entitled to their views, and there may be people in India, and I will not question them, who feel that they are more knowledgeable, more wise than our constitutional fathers. And I respect, I think they are entitled to.